So in this example, I'm just going to add UIPickerView for this particular subject field, because subject field is normal text input, so I can text input field. Here I would like to use the picker view so that the subjects can be picked up instead of having that hard-coded values or something. So the same example, anyway, that particular example which I wrote last, which only contain a simple picker view example, that probably this session we can take it as a revisit, or probably we are going to replace this text input and adding one more feature here. So UI picker view we are going to add at this point. So the last example we talked about adding a UI picker view alone in our example. So let me add the UI picker view for add edit view controller. So this view controller, here the subject field is going to be, the data source going to be a UI picker view. So UI picker view has to be dynamically added. So in this case, let me add a dynamic property. It's not going to be outlet property. Subject something subject picker or whatever, and delegates also need to be implemented. For table view controller and UI picker view, both going to contain data source and delegates. So UI picker view data source, UI picker delegate. So these delegates, of course, the protocols going to contain some sort of abstract methods or incomplete functions that has to be implemented. So those incomplete methods I can find using the header. Time being, this I'm going to see number of components in picker view and picker view number of rows in a component. So these two has to be implemented, and another one is for, see it, if you notice that this is picker view data source and the delegate. So two blocks we need to implement. One is number of components in the picker view and the picker view, which belongs to UI view data source. Another one set of methods, in this case, what are all they? Select row, as the components getting selected, and view for row, view for row. This one, number of components in a component. Okay, let's start doing that, then we will come back. Let me synthesize. And it's complaining about a couple of functions are missing, number of components in a picker view and these two. Okay, let me copy from there. It's going to copy. Let us implement at the end. Both require some numbers. Number of components in the picker view, number of rows in a component. So number of components which is going to be picked here is going to be 1. Only one item is going to be picked, and this one, depending on the content. As of now, I just keep it to 1. I'll replace it. So we need to define the data source, which is going to be an array, NS array or mutable array. So subjects are going to be hard-coded values. So I'm just going to tell, okay, these methods are belonging to after anything going to come, I'll be writing the further pragma marks. Okay. I'm going to need an array. subjects array, which is going to be the list of subjects. We'll give a hard-coded value. Let's just extend. Okay, so subjects. So depending on the size of this array, that many components is going to be, that many rows are going to be. So count. Okay. So UIPickerView data source abstract methods being implemented. Now we have a UIPickerView delegate methods that has to be implemented. Before that, let's see. One, we have to display how many contents are going to be, and we have to handle the events, click events. So those things we have to decide. Before that, I'll have to initialize my UIPickerView. So subjects picker. Okay. Subject vectors, I need to set data source that has been implemented here, and subject picker set this corresponding delegate that has also been implemented over here. So the data source and picker delegate has been implemented here. So that is actually, it's been done because by implementing the data source and the data picker as a kind of interface or protocol. So it's been implemented. Now I need to map it. Okay, the subject field. Set input view. This is going to be subject. So as soon as the subject field is going to be tapped, instead of a software keyboard, now we will have a picker, but we are not done yet. I need to implement a couple of other functions that I have to identify. So delegate function I yet to implement. Let me identify what are all the delegate functions. This is data view, this is here. So in this case, picker view title for a row, this one has to be implemented, and did select row. These two methods has to be implemented. So one is returning void, another one is returning string. Mark. Okay, title for a row, this one has to be implemented. String, okay, we'll come back. Subject array, object at index. Another one is void did select row. When as soon as the picker is the value is picked from the picker, what you have to do. So subject field is going to have that set text subject picker object. So it's not a picker. Subjects array object at I'm trying to do the Objective-C conventions. Object at index row. So whenever the user pick the value from a picker, whatever the value is being picked will be displayed in the text field. And also we need to dismiss the picker as soon as the value is being picked. So we have a convention of adding touches begin self view and editing set to yes. So as soon as user tap outside of the picker view or text field, the view, the corresponding picker would get dismissed. So what we have done, we have a subject array, and now the subject field is going to have an input view set to a picker instead of a standard keyboard. So the picker will get displayed as soon as I tap on the subject field. The picker value is based on the delegate and data source. Those delegate and data source have been implemented in this class itself. So those delegate methods is actually, is there something? It had already been implemented. Somewhere it has been implemented, I hope. Yeah, it's already here. Okay, so as soon as the user tap on the text field, the picker would get displayed. Let us check. Now we have a picker. So as I select the values, I click in and gets dismissed. So instead of typing the values using the keyboard, we are just letting the user to select the values from the picker. The picker is already also has one accessory view, but let me try if I can create it. I would like to add some sort of done button or something. Instead of tapping outside, I would like to have some sort of OK done button something, so that once I click it gets dismissed. So if I can do that, let me try. UI toolbar. I'm going to add a toolbar on the top of it. UI toolbar. Okay. UI bar button item. With title. UI bar button style done. Target is implemented here. Action is going to be a selector needed. Okay, when the user click on the OK button or done button, what you need to handle? Probably I am going to need a function. Okay, guy is complaining. Okay, now we need to add this is where I usually get add subview set items. I hope set items requires an array. Array with objects. Second. This will do. Okay, bar button item nil. Okay, the toolbar. In fact, the toolbar what you are seeing, so usually the toolbar will be available over here on the top or bottom. Toolbar can have as many as buttons. In this case, I am adding only one button. Since the toolbar can accept more than one button, it has to be set as an array, because you can add one more button if required and keep adding them. Since it is only one button, the UI toolbar requires an array element, so I just created an array, in that one of an element being OK bar button. So now the subject field is going to contain set accessory set input accessory. Input accessory view, it is UI. The accessory is nothing but on the top, an additional accessory is going to be added. I'm just trying it. Let me see. It's a pretty old format of doing that. Yeah, we got a done button. So when the user clicks something and he clicks done button, we'll dismiss that. So that will be more appropriate to handle them. The user picks a value, click done, the value gets dismissed. So you can add an accessory view to your input text field by defining a toolbar with a button. So a toolbar first you initialize dynamically, and it is going to have a bar button OK. that OK has to be added and to a toolbar. That toolbar is actually going to be act as an accessory view for your text field. So it is just put a done button. If you notice that the particular toolbar, it's a transparent toolbar and there is a done button exists. So you can click on it. If you really want to handle the events or do some sort of updates, you can do that. But but if required, you can handle it. But at this point, I don't have anything, so just I define a simple selector. Whenever the particular UI bar button is clicked, the callback will be handed over to here. So you can add a done button as well to this particular picker. It gets dismissed. The empty value has been added. Okay, so this is the one I would like to discuss. So this example, I have added the picker view to the field subject. Now the user selects from the picker instead of directly typing the value. And I also added a input accessory view, which is a done button, which is going to be holding a toolbar, and toolbar in turn is going to have a bar button, OK bar button, and that has to be added to a toolbar. The toolbar becomes a accessory view for subject field. So you will see the done button as well. So when the user click on it, when it clicks done, value just gets dismissed. So usually you would have seen this kind of design quite often in iOS. So that the done button usually find the place. You can add as many as button to a toolbar, create one more bar button item, add that particular button to this one. Naturally that button also would get added. If you want one more button, you can add it as well. So I've added that. So you have additional button. So that as many as button you want, you can add it as an accessory. So additional accessory, you can handle their callbacks. So now I'll comment it, not all required. I'm just going to use one single button. So you can create toolbar dynamically. That toolbar bar button is added. UI toolbar expects an array of elements because it can accept more than one view. So I have to create an array. In that, the OK bar button is added, and that button is set as an accessory view for your text field. That's the reason you are getting an additional button over here. So this is a convention. If I ask you to create a picker view, make sure you have the accessory view also set so that I can easily dismiss it and add it wherever needed. So this is part of creating the UI dynamically or programmatically instead of depending inspector builder or storyboard. Okay, so this is what I wanted to discuss. Okay, that's it.